The secret to stopping muscle loss is hiding in your coffee. Don't miss this. After 60, you can lose up to 30% of your muscle mass, even if you're eating enough protein. And no one ever warns you about it. A study published in the Journal of the American Geriatrics Society found that 1 in 3 adults over the age of 65 will experience a fall every year. But the cause isn't a lack of calcium. It's not because you're not getting enough protein. It's because your body simply stops rebuilding muscle the way it used to. Have you ever felt like this? Your legs feel weaker than they used to. Climbing stairs is getting harder. Your grip just doesn't feel as strong. Or maybe you've had moments where you almost lost your balance. If you're nodding yes, I want you to know this is not your fault. After 60, your body enters a phase called anabolic resistance. That means even if you're eating right, your body no longer absorbs or builds muscle as effectively as before. And that's why you eat eggs, drink milk, take whey protein, but your muscles still shrink. You stay active, walk regularly, but you still feel tired and weak. You live a healthy lifestyle, but your energy keeps slipping away. Now here's the good news: this can be reversed. And it doesn't take medication, a strict diet, or intense workouts. All it takes is one simple thing each morning, combined with a cup of coffee you're probably already drinking, to naturally reactivate your body's muscle-building signals. In this video, I'm going to share exactly how. As a physician who has worked with thousands of people over 60, I'll walk you through why protein isn't enough after age 60, how to wake up the control center that builds muscle, and how you can stop muscle loss, regain strength, and improve balance in just 5 minutes a day. The truth few people know: muscle loss isn't about protein deficiency. I had a patient, 72 years old. He ate well, had a glass of milk and 2 eggs every morning, and took a 30-minute walk every day. And yet, he fell while walking down the stairs. It wasn't osteoporosis. It was because his legs no longer had the strength to keep him upright. I know this might come as a shock to many of you. Losing muscle after 60 isn't about poor nutrition. It's not about lacking eggs, meat, or dairy. It's about your body no longer hearing the signal to build muscle. Science has a name for this: anabolic resistance. A report from Harvard Health puts it this way: after age 60, the body becomes resistant to the signals from protein. You can eat enough, but the muscle-building machinery has fallen asleep. I want you to picture this. Your body is like a factory. Protein is the raw material: bricks, cement, steel. You've got plenty of it. But the foreman, the one who gives the order to build, is asleep. Without that signal, the workers just stand around. Your body stops rebuilding muscle, and the factory starts to fall apart day by day. That's anabolic resistance. It's not that you don't have enough protein, it's that your body doesn't know what to do with it. A 2023 meta-analysis in the journal Nutrients found that adults over 65 need 30–50% more leucine in each meal to trigger the muscle-building response, compared to people in their 30s or 40s. In other words, you're doing the right thing, but it's not enough. Not enough to break through the soundproof wall that aging builds inside your body. And if you don't know this, you'll keep eating well but feeling weak, exercising but not improving, believing it's just natural aging, when in reality, there's a way to wake the foreman back up. And in the next part, I'll show you exactly how to do that, using an amino acid called leucine. It's not just another brick. It's the spark that fires up the engine and gets the whole system moving again. If you've ever felt like you're slowly losing control of your strength, then what comes next might just change the way you think about breakfast. The key to reigniting muscle growth: leucine. You know, I often joke with my patients. Leucine isn't just protein, it's the alarm bell in your muscle-building factory. Without it, even if the warehouse is stocked with materials, nobody starts working. And that's not just a metaphor. Leucine, an amino acid from the BCAA group, is the switch that starts the entire muscle-building process in your body. According to the Cleveland Clinic, leucine is the most important amino acid for activating the anabolic pathway called mTOR. That's the master switch your body uses to start building muscle. In fact, a 2020 study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition showed that when older adults supplemented with leucine alone, even without changing their workouts, muscle protein synthesis increased by 16 to 30%. So what happens if you don't get enough leucine? You could be eating plenty of meat, fish, eggs. But if the amount of leucine doesn't hit the trigger point to activate mTOR, your body still ignores the signal to build muscle. Let me give you a picture. You've got a car with a full tank of gas. Brand new engine, but no key to start it. Leucine is that key. It's the spark that brings the whole system to life. Now here's the good news. This key isn't expensive. It's not hard to find, and you don't need a prescription or injections. Leucine is available as a tasteless, odorless powder you can stir right into your morning coffee. And this is important. It only works if you get the dose and timing right. You need at least 5 to 3 grams of leucine at one time. All at once, not split throughout the day. Taken right after waking up. If you don't hit that activation threshold, leucine won't flip the muscle-building switch. That's also why many people take whey protein every morning and see no results. One scoop of whey usually contains only about 15 grams of leucine. Not enough to overcome anabolic resistance. So even though you think you're helping your body, it's like knocking on a door without the key to unlock it. And I know what you're thinking. Okay, I get it, leucine matters, but why mix it into my coffee? Great question. The answer lies in how your body works right after you wake up. A golden window most people completely overlook. And in part 4, I'll show you why your morning cup of coffee is the perfect vehicle to deliver leucine where it's needed. Why taking it first thing after waking up makes absorption way more effective. And how coffee plus leucine becomes the perfect spark for muscle recovery and strength after 60. Why coffee is the perfect vehicle. You might be wondering, why not just take leucine with water or mix it into a morning smoothie? Why does it have to be coffee? I've heard that question hundreds of times, and the answer usually surprises people. Your morning black coffee, no cream, no sugar, might be your golden opportunity to rebuild muscle. Let me explain it from a physiology perspective, but in the simplest way possible. When you first wake up, your body is in its most sensitive state for regeneration. At that moment, insulin is low, meaning blood sugar isn't interfering. Meanwhile, cortisol, your natural alertness hormone, is at its peak. That might sound like a bad thing, but it's not. In fact, this is the ideal moment to send a strong, muscle-building signal to your internal control center. And black coffee, with no cream, no sugar, amplifies this biological state. It increases blood flow, activates your sympathetic nervous system, and helps your muscle cells absorb nutrients more effectively. A 2022 study published in Frontiers in Physiology found that taking leucine in a fasted state, like in the morning with black coffee, triggered significantly higher mTOR activation than taking it after a meal. Now imagine this, you're drinking your morning coffee just like you always do. But this time you stir in 3 grams of pure leucine powder in just 20 to 30 minutes. Your mTOR pathway flips on. Muscle cells receive the build signal. Protein synthesis gets activated. And all of that happens without a heavy workout. The key here is that coffee doesn't compete with leucine for absorption. Unlike a typical carb-heavy breakfast with fruit, cereal, toast, which can spike insulin and blur the signal, black coffee gives you a clean slate, a clear runway. Leucine enters your body like a bullet, straight to your muscle cells, no detours. Now, if you're not a coffee drinker, don't worry. You can still get similar effects using black tea, warm water, no sugar, or even plain warm filtered water in the morning. As long as there's no sugar, no milk, and no carbs. But here's the exciting part. If you're already drinking coffee every morning, like most Americans over 60, then this isn't something new. It's simply an upgrade to a habit you already have. You're turning your daily cup into a powerful tool for restoring strength and vitality. So now you know why coffee is the perfect vehicle to carry leucine to exactly where it needs to go. But there's one thing to remember. Leucine alone isn't enough. Just like you can't build a house with only cement, you also need sunlight, a solid foundation, and workers. In the next part, I'll show you how to combine leucine with 2 simple nutrients that double its muscle-building effect. The perfect time to move your body, just enough to trigger growth. And why just 5 minutes each morning could change everything for your strength and balance after 60. The 3 elements that work together to rebuild muscle. I want you to picture this. You've got the spark, that's leucine. You've got the vehicle to carry the spark to the right place, that's your morning coffee. But what if it's raining, the wind is blowing hard, and the ground beneath you is crumbling? In other words, a spark isn't enough. You need the right environment for that spark to become a fire. And after working with so many patients over 60, I've found that 3 simple but powerful factors make all the difference. 1, leucine, the right dose at the right time. You already know this. For people over 65, the body needs around 2.5 to 3 grams of pure leucine, taken in the morning, ideally within 30 to 60 minutes after waking up. And this isn't just theory. A 2020 study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition showed that when older adults took leucine alone in the morning, even without exercising, muscle protein synthesis increased by 16 to 30%. But consistency matters. Think of it like watering a plant. Not too much, but at the right time every day. 2. Vitamin D and omega-3, the solid ground your muscles need to grow. I had a patient, Helen, 72 years old, who had been taking leucine every morning for 3 weeks. But nothing changed. I asked her, "When's the last time you had your vitamin D checked?" She paused, then sighed. "Honestly, maybe 5 years ago." Turns out, her vitamin D levels were way below the threshold needed to activate mTOR, the body's switch for building muscle. According to Harvard Health Publishing, vitamin D doesn't just help bones. It directly impacts your body's ability to synthesize muscle protein. And Cleveland Clinic highlights how omega-3 fatty acids make mTOR more sensitive and reduce inflammation in aging muscle. If you rarely get sun exposure or don't eat fatty fish like salmon or sardines, there's a good chance you're lacking both. Here, that's what I recommend: always check with your doctor first. Supplement with 1,000 to 0,000 IU of vitamin D per day. Add 1,000 mg of omega-3, EPA plus DHA from fish oil. 3-5 minutes of gentle movement, the "I'm using my muscles" signal. I get it, not everyone enjoys exercise. But I'm not talking about hitting the gym. Just 5 minutes after your morning coffee, try a few light resistance movements. Stand up and sit down from a chair. Wall push-ups, light pulls with a resistance band. That's all it takes to wake up your muscle cells. A research summary in Mayo Clinic Proceedings found that gentle morning movement, right after anabolic stimulation, boosts protein synthesis by up to 25% compared to resting. And I always tell my patients this: you don't have to get stronger to move. You move even just a little to get stronger. So let's recap. Leucine is the key, coffee is the vehicle. Vitamin D and omega-3 create healthy soil, and movement is the morning sun that helps everything grow. Now you might be wondering, how do I actually schedule all this? When do I take what? When should I eat or go for a light walk? That's exactly what I'll guide you through next. How to align these habits with your natural body clock after 60 and make every minute of your morning count. A daily rhythm for adults 65 plus. Aligning food, supplements, and movement with your body clock. You've probably heard the saying, the right medicine at the wrong time is still the wrong medicine. And for people over 60, that couldn't be more true. It's not just what you do, it's when you do it. Your body runs on its own internal clock, a natural rhythm that controls everything from energy, digestion, and hormones to your ability to build muscle. If you know when your body is most receptive, the effects of leucine, movement, and nutrition can multiply dramatically. Morning, the golden window for muscle building and fat burning. Within 30-60 minutes after waking, your body is in a perfect state. Low insulin right arrow, no interference with muscle building signals. Naturally high cortisol right arrow promotes alertness and primes your metabolism. An empty stomach right arrow amino acids are absorbed faster. This is the ideal time to take your 3G of leucine plus black coffee, just like we discussed earlier. A 2022 study in Frontiers in Physiology reported that leucine taken in a fasted state in the morning activated mTOR 40% more strongly than when taken with a mixed meal full of carbs and fat. 30-60 minutes later, a high-protein, low-carb breakfast. Don't skip breakfast, but make it the right kind. Avoid oatmeal, toast, sugary cereals. Instead choose eggs, fish, chicken, Greek yogurt, or a low-sugar protein shake. Why? Your muscles need a second wave of leucine from food to keep the protein synthesis process going. And keeping carbs low prevents insulin spikes that can block mTOR, your body's muscle-building switch. Mid-morning or late afternoon, your best time to move. You don't need to work out hard, but between 9-11 a.m. or 3-5 p.m., your body is naturally set up for movement. Higher body temperature right arrow, less injury risk. Nervous system is primed. You've had enough fuel from breakfast or lunch. Pro tip, go for a light walk 1 hour after breakfast, or do some gentle resistance exercises before dinner. Evening, avoid late meals for better muscle recovery. After 7 p.m., your melatonin starts rising. Digestion slows, your body prepares for rest. If you eat late, especially carb-heavy meals, you're more likely to disrupt sleep, store more fat, interfere with overnight muscle recovery. Instead, if you're hungry before bed, go for something light. A small glass of almond milk plus hydrolyzed collagen. A few walnuts. Here's a simple daily rhythm to follow. 6:37, 0 a.m. Drink water, take Leucine plus black coffee. 7:38, 30 a.m. Eat a high-protein breakfast. 9:00, 0 a.m. Light walk or resistance movement. 12:001, 0 p.m. Balanced lunch. 3:005 p.m. Optional light activity. 6:006, 30 p.m. Light dinner low in carbs. Before bed, aim for 7-8 hours of restful sleep. Your growth hormone needs it to rebuild muscle. One of my patients once told me, all I did was change when I ate, when I drank my supplements, and took a 15-minute walk each morning. And suddenly I was sleeping better and waking up without all that morning stiffness. Sometimes it's not about doing more. It's about putting what you already have in the right order. So now that everything's in place, is there real proof this method works? That answer comes next in the story of Robert and how 1 cup of coffee helped him regain his strength. Robert's story, a bike, a cup of coffee, and a comeback. Robert, 72, is a retired mechanical engineer living in Arizona. The first time we met, he told me, "Doc, I don't trust my legs anymore." One small misstep, just coming down the back porch stairs, left him laid up for 2 weeks with a knee sprain. No broken bones, no hard fall, just legs that couldn't hold him up anymore. He thought he was doing everything right. Every morning, boiled eggs, a glass of milk, a slice of whole grain toast, sometimes even a scoop of whey protein, the kind that's supposed to be muscle food. But the muscles kept shrinking. His back started hunching, climbing stairs meant holding the rail, and every morning he woke up feeling like he hadn't slept at all. I asked him, "Do you remember the last time you went for a jog?" He chuckled, "Probably back when Nixon was in office." That day, I didn't give him a long list of medications. I just said, "Starting tomorrow, drink 1 cup of black coffee each morning, mix in 3 grams of pure Leucine. Then take a 5-minute walk around the yard. Do it for at least 7 days." On day 3, I got a short email from him. "Less soreness in my legs. I don't feel wobbly getting out of bed." On day 10, I actually felt like rolling my bike out of the shed. Not ready to ride it, but tempted. On day 21, he sent a photo. His old bike cleaned up, polished. And Robert, sitting tall in the saddle with a smile like he just found a piece of himself again. Now I want you to picture this. It's early morning. You step outside. The air is fresh. And your legs, they feel steady again. You walk without reaching for a wall. You feel the ground beneath your feet like it belongs to you again. And in that moment, you realize it wasn't age that beat you. It was just your body waiting for you to take it back, one small step at a time. A 2021 study from Mayo Clinic found that just a 10% increase in lean muscle mass in adults over 65 can reduce fall risk by 25% and improve mobility significantly. Robert didn't just ride his bike again. He went on picnics with his grandkids. He climbed steps at the museum. But most importantly, he regained confidence in himself. So if you've ever caught yourself thinking, "Well, I'm just getting old," I hope you remember this story. Because sometimes, a simple cup of coffee at the right time with the right thing added can be the first step toward a brand new chapter. Waking up your mitochondria, how muscle restores energy and clarity. I once asked Robert, after his body started to recover, what felt the most different to you? He didn't talk about muscle or appearance. He said, "My mind feels clearer. That constant fatigue I used to have, it's just gone. It's like someone flipped the switch back on inside me." And I knew that wasn't just a feeling. That was his mitochondria, the little power plants inside every cell, finally coming back online. My friend, we often think muscle loss after 60 just affects strength, but the truth is, muscle is a metabolic organ, a central hub for energy and vitality. And deep inside every muscle cell are mitochondria, tiny nuclear reactors that generate up to 90% of the energy you use for thinking, breathing, digestion, even emotion. According to Harvard Health Publishing, as we age, the number and function of mitochondria decline. That means You get tired faster even with light movement. Your metabolism slows down. It's harder to burn fat or stay lean. Your brain feels foggy, more forgetfulness, less focus. And this doesn't happen overnight. It builds quietly, every time you skip movement, miss quality protein, or eat at the wrong times. But here's the good news. Mitochondria can regenerate. They can be reawakened. A study in Frontiers in Aging showed that just 2 weeks of morning Leucine plus light movement significantly improved mitochondrial function in older adults, including more ATP production, that's your cellular energy, and lower oxidative stress, a major driver of aging. I want you to imagine this. Your body is like a city experiencing rolling blackouts. Everything slows down, reaction time, digestion, even mood. But when you activate muscle the right way, you're not just rebuilding the factory, you're restoring the power grid. Suddenly you feel more awake, your body feels warmer, your mind gets sharper. And the surprising part, your mood lifts too. One of my patients once told me, "Doc, I didn't think a short morning walk would make me feel this good all day. I thought I was just helping my legs, but it turns out it helped my head too." I smiled, because that's absolutely true. Muscle, energy, brain, they're all part of one beautiful system. And that's the bridge I want to help you cross next. Because keeping your muscles strong doesn't just help you walk steadily. It can help you preserve memory, mental clarity, and dignity all the way into your later years. And now, I want to show you the powerful link between muscle and memory. A connection that most older adults don't discover until it's too late. That's what the next part is all about. Strong muscles, sharp mind, the link we often miss. My friend, I once had a patient named Helen, 74 years old. One day, she came into my office looking a little confused. She said, "I don't know why, but lately, I keep forgetting things. Simple stuff, where I left my keys, whether I've eaten breakfast. But what worries me most is, I feel like I'm not myself anymore." Have you ever felt that way? We tend to think memory only lives in the brain. But what most people don't realize is, your muscles and your mind are close friends. And when muscles fade, the brain stops getting what it needs to thrive. A study published in the Journal of Gerontology found a clear connection. Low muscle mass is directly linked to mild cognitive impairment, MCI, in people over 65. And that's not random, it's biology. So why does losing muscle affect memory? First, muscles help regulate blood sugar. When you lose muscle, your blood sugar becomes harder to control. And long-term high blood sugar is a known risk factor for cognitive decline, according to Cleveland Clinic. Second, when muscles work, they release neurotransmitters and myokines, tiny molecules that cross the blood-brain barrier and stimulate memory areas like the hippocampus, according to Harvard Health. Third, even simple movements, like walking or light resistance, boost blood flow to the brain. That means more oxygen, better focus, sharper thinking. Keep your muscles, keep your mind. It's not just a slogan. It's a survival strategy after 60. I once followed a 3-year study from the Rush Memory and Aging Project. It showed that older adults with stronger muscles and better physical fitness had up to 60% lower risk of developing Alzheimer's, compared to those who were sedentary and had low muscle strength. That number still gives me chills, not because it's shocking, but because it could have been prevented if we acted sooner. I told Helen, "Your brain, just like your legs, needs to be trained, nourished, and protected. And the fastest way to do that is to keep your body moving." So we started small, a morning cup of black coffee with 3 g of Leucine. 5 minutes of gentle movement, no heavy weights, no fancy machines, just sit-to-stands. A protein-rich, low-sugar breakfast, and a few deep breaths of quiet mindfulness. 2 months later, Helen came back. Her eyes were brighter, she said. "I still forget sometimes, but my thinking feels quicker. I can read the paper without my eyes getting tired, and I laugh more now." You see, building muscle isn't just about getting up from a chair. It's about holding on to who you are, your thoughts, your memories, your moments. And that's why I call muscle the shield of aging. When you keep your muscle, you keep your memory. And when you keep your memory, you keep your identity, your freedom, your dignity. So now, I want you to pause for a second. Ask yourself, am I letting go of my memory because I've let go of my body? And if all it takes to begin again is 1 cup of coffee in the morning, then why not start tomorrow morning? My friend, if you've stayed with me all the way to this point, first, I want you to take a moment and quietly congratulate yourself. Not everyone has the patience or the care to finish a journey like this. And this hasn't just been about muscles or Leucine or black coffee. This has been about reclaiming control of your body, your memory, and your dignity in later life. Together, we've looked straight at a truth most people shy away from. That after 60, the body doesn't respond the way it used to. That sometimes, even with the right meals and protein shakes, muscles still fade quietly. But we've also discovered this. The door isn't closed. You just have to know how and when to knock. From a simple morning cup of coffee to 3 tiny grams of leucine that work like a spark inside a sleeping engine. From just a few minutes of gentle movement each day to profound shifts in your energy, clarity, and even your memory. And behind all this isn't some abstract theory. It's backed by real science, real studies, real patience. And maybe it's your story too. Let me ask you a question from the heart. Are you ready to make one small change to take back a big part of your life? If the answer is yes, here's a simple challenge. For the next 7 mornings, 1 cup of black coffee, stir in 3 g of pure leucine, add just a few minutes of gentle movement, and most importantly, believe that you are doing something powerful for yourself. After 7 days, come back and tell me what you noticed. And if your muscle weakness doesn't improve, or you're dealing with specific medical conditions, please talk to your doctor. Every healing journey needs the right guidance. Finally, thank you from the bottom of my heart for giving your precious time to listen, reflect, and take the first step toward a new chapter of your life. If you found this video helpful, backhand index pointing right, hit subscribe to Vigor Without Age, so I can keep bringing you science-based insights, always with warmth made just for the golden years. Envelope with arrow, and please leave me a comment. What part of this video made you think the most? Have you ever tried morning coffee and light movement? What's stopping you from starting? Wishing you strength, peace, happiness, and all the good luck on the road ahead. Because aging isn't the end, it's a new opportunity to live slower, deeper, and more fully than ever before. I'll see you in the next video on Vigor Without Age. And remember, to keep your muscle is to keep yourself.